This is video number 3 of the Run Fit series, and today we're talking linebackers.
We're not going to get a second chance in the game.
Welcome back to the Run Fit series, and today we're putting together the last piece of the puzzle, the linebackers. What do we want them to key so that it complements how we're playing up front with the defensive line? Now, before I dive into this, I want to tell you guys about the newly available join button down below. We are moving as much of our content as we can over here to YouTube so that you guys can support us here and have access to parts of our coaching library. In fact, I just got back from Indiana yesterday, miking up 2 coaches, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, and that content will be available next week on here. You can see those mic'd up practices. We have more of those scheduled this year, and if you join at First Down Support, you can access all of our mic'd up practices. There are other options available where you can see more and more of the content we've created. You will not be disappointed. Please consider supporting what we're doing here at Chief Pigskin if you want to see more. Back to Run Fits. As I said, we're trying to piece our puzzle together. Now, there are a couple ways that you can read with your linebackers, but you do want to be thinking in terms of, okay, I want my linebacker eyes here. I want them playing like this because my D-line is playing like this. The two need to work together. Now, most teams are going to have their linebackers read one of a few options. The first option you have is for them to read back. Okay, so usually like one back. If you happen to have 2 backs in the backfield, they would choose one of the backs. I've seen schools that do fullback and schools that do tailback. You might switch it per game plan. Another option is to read flow. And flow refers to the backfield as a whole. So you might read if both backs go one way, that's full flow. You might have them do something different if they go opposite ways, that's split flow. And last but not least, they have fast flow, which is when both backs and guys up front, everybody goes sprinting in one direction together in a hurry. That's fast flow. Now, the next option, which is pretty common at the high school level, would be to read guards. Now, when they talk about reading guards, they usually refer to one linebacker reading the guard in front of him. And your last option would be to read the triangle. Now, the triangle refers to this triangle between both guards and the fullback. Now, there's no doubt that this is the most complicated read to teach and for a linebacker to understand, but there are teams out there that do it successfully. I personally believe that in modern day football, it makes sense to make sure that you've kind of split your forces. If up front on the D line you are really reading blocks well, then it makes sense for the linebackers behind them to have eyes on running back. That way, because everybody's reading you. Everybody's lying to you with linemen and sending running backs another way at some point in the game. So now if I split my forces, if I put my D-line really go into blockers and my linebackers will respond to backs, if you send your blockers one way but backs the other, well, I've got someone there to make the tackle on the backs. And if you don't lie, you send your blocker or your ball carriers behind your blockers, well, now I've got all of my forces there. So if you're in a situation where you don't feel like you can teach those defensive line reads quite to that level and you'd like to do more stunting or penetrating on the defensive line, then it makes sense to have your linebackers behind them really keen guards or the triangle. But for the sake of this video series, we've chosen to teach our D linemen how to be great readers of the blockers. So we're going to allow our linebackers to have eyes on backs. So our linebackers are going to decide between a few options. They need to fill straight ahead, they need to scrape, or they need to know what to do when their key goes away. So first and foremost, if I am this linebacker here, opposite side of the running back, if this back comes my way, so he crosses the quarterback's face and he comes my way, I need to fill straight ahead. I'm looking to come straight ahead. It helps to have an understanding of windows. So if my window, right, this gap opens up, well, then I clearly need to fill straight through it. If the window closes, which it does more often than it opens up, the window closes, I need to kind of strike a match, I like to say, right off the edge of that last blocker. It's not much wider, there's a touch wider than if that window opens. Now, if this running back does not seem to be attacking the interior, but instead seems to be attacking the sideline, so really trying hard to stretch horizontally, well, now instead of filling, I need to scrape. And a lot of times when I scrape, depending on the formation, I kind of have to have my eyes on who else is coming to block me. I need to make sure that I stay on the inside half of this ball carrier. I really can't allow myself to over pursue it and get outside. Now, the last thing my key could do is go away. So I want to have a little rhyme here. Key away, backside A. I'm going to run through this attacking angle through the inside backside A gap. I have to remember, and I remind my athletes all the time, you don't play one-man defense. You're on an 11-man defense. It's a system. You're a part of the puzzle. It's not your job to make a one-man on one-man play. You have to be a part of the puzzle so that this man doesn't have anywhere to go. So we're looking to run through backside A, and if I get there and A gap were closed, then I would slowly veer it outward, A to B, then on to C. So key away, backside A. Now let's talk about the linebacker here that's on the same side of the back. Now he needs to make an anchor call. Now you can use any word you want, but we're going to use the word anchor. Now the anchor call is necessary because of modern day football, of how often you've got read game going on in the backfield. So when the running back crosses the quarterback's face, he might give it, but he also might keep it, and the quarterback would then attack back the other way. So we need to make sure we have a guy accounting for that. So in this case, when I catch myself as a linebacker on the same side of the back, I'm going to make the anchor call, anchor, anchor. And that only changes one thing for me, and that's what to do when my key goes away. So now instead of key away, backside A, it's key away, play my way. I'm thinking play my way. The key went away. I'm going to strike right now, even before I see whether or not that quarterback kept it. And I'm going to strike straight downhill, assuming this play is coming back my way. So now in the read game, whatever I have up front here, whether it's inside zone up front or my tackles and guards are actually pulling, because remember what we said, this D end is actually going to chase those pullers. I now have someone back here to take care of quarterback key. So key away, play my way. That's the rule of the anchor. Now, your kids have got to know you could trade, or that anchor call could get taken care of by someone else. So let's say they put two backs in the backfield. Well, when there's two backs in the backfield, we know there's now only three receivers out there. This means that one of my linebackers, an extra linebacker, just became available to help out in our run fits. So in this case, let's use the weak safety. The weak safety is now available to get involved in the run fits. So we're going to put him at 6 to 7 yards over what we call ghost tight end, which is why we call this alignment ghost. And he is now going to make the anchor call. He's going to tell his buddy, I tell him, call him out by his first name. Johnny, anchor, anchor, anchor. He's telling Johnny, I got you. I'm going to take the anchor call now. If I see key away, I'll take play my way, which allows you to go back to key away, backside A. This now gives us an additional man to the point of attack with the blockers, because anytime you add a fullback, you're adding a gap. Whether this fullback goes off tackle or they open up a hole here in the middle and the fullback inserts, there is still an extra gap to be defended. And now I've got my weak safety here who can handle the play my way, the QB read, the QB keep. Now, whether you're reading backs or you're reading guards, the reactions stay the same. It's just a matter of what stimulus is going to cause what response. So what is going to cause my kids to fill straight ahead? What's going to cause them to scrape? What's going to cause them to go backside A? And what's going to cause them to stay? I have to make the decisions of what stimulus is going to cause those response, no matter what I decide to key. In our next video, we'll start drawing up some plays and actually testing our run fits. If you've enjoyed any parts of this series, please like and subscribe and check out that join button. We are excited to bring you guys more and more content and need your support to do so.